energized by this, what's going on today.
Well, I call Liberty the Fox News network of the academic world. Liberty is different than other universities in so many ways. The Chronicle of Higher Education did a cover story a few years ago that said that the success of Liberty University is rooted in the fact that Liberty doesn't try to be like every other university. We try to emphasize academic freedom, freedom of expression. We try to keep education affordable and accessible.
Let's walk a little bit. What is this right here, this tower that's in front of us?
The tower is the School of Divinity. It's 275 feet high, which is nearly 28 stories. There's a classroom on every floor. Under the lawn right there.
Under the lawn.
There's 3 basketball courts where the basketball team practices. Those are the newer dorms up there on the hill. A lot of new construction going on still.
Let's talk about the young kids here, the students here, who are so different from their, cohorts in universities.
Visitors to campus are always telling me how they go out of their way to ask them if they need directions. They drop something, the students will pick it up for them. A lot of universities, you walk on campus and the students won't make eye contact with them.
Right. What is the role? Let's get a little more political. I mean, with the midterms coming up, what's the role of the evangelical Christian, having seen everything that we saw with the Kavanaugh hearings, and what role do they play, and can they turn elections in this country?
Well, when President Trump said to African Americans, "What the hell do you have to lose?" we took that as that he was talking to evangelicals as well, because establishment Republicans have betrayed us for decades. And so a lot of us voted for Trump because what do we have to lose?
Do you think, though, that after the Kavanaugh hearings and the sharp divide in this country, that's going to bring out the evangelicals?
Absolutely. I think they're angry about how he was treated. And I've heard that from a lot just the last couple of days. And I think that anger is going to backfire on the Democrats.
So this is Virginia Rose, and she's going to come.
She's my only grandbaby. She's 7 months old. Got one more on the way, but this is the only one we have so far.
And she'll be a student here?
It'll be up to her, but
with the midterms coming up, do you think that those on the left are not just out of control, but they are interested in something different than the students here?
I just think the country's never been more polarized. I remember when I was in law school in the 80s, I would travel with my father when he spoke at different mainstream universities, liberal schools. They would boo and hiss because he was a conservative, but they weren't like they are now. Now in those days, liberals would say, "I may not agree with you, but I'll fight for your right to say it." Now they don't want you to say it. They become fascists instead of liberals, in my opinion.
So what has happened to the country?
I think it's years and years of education in the public schools that are controlled by the teachers' unions, and then higher education that is just all the professors believe a certain way. I forget how many, 98% supported Obama at the Ivy League schools. And it's just, they've just been indoctrinated, young people.
And what can Liberty do to change that?
That's why we exist. And it's why we've prospered, is because it's an alternative to that indoctrination and that lack of academic freedom, lack of free expression. Conservatives are bullied at most mainstream universities.
I know. And you're about to hear from the students at Liberty. Street Justice is next. Now hear from the students. I hit the campus of Liberty University for this week's Street Justice. Here I am at the campus of Liberty University, and as you can see, many of these students are so bright because they are holding up my book, Liars, Leakers, and Liberals. I'm going to go around and ask them how much religion affects their politics and how much they love Liberty University. So, what a shock. Here I am on Liberty. I just found someone who has my book. Okay, let's talk about politics and religion.
Okay.
Where does politics, how is politics affected by your religion?
My politics are affected by my religion because God drives everything that I do. I'm actually a pre-law major. You actually really have inspired me to pick my field.
Yeah, you want to be a prosecutor?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, Mr. 6'5". Do you play basketball?
I didn't in high school. I'm doing intramural here, though.
What do you want to be?
If anything, I'm not totally sure yet. I'm a digital media major, maybe a broadcaster going along those lines.
Yeah? Well, if you're going to be a broadcaster, you got to get a taller cameraman.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, Greg! All right. How does religion affect your politics?
Well, as a Christian, I always like to, vote more conservative and always put Jesus at my forefront.
Wait a minute.
Of everything.
Vote more conservative. Does that
Yes.
mean the conservatives are more religious than the liberals?
I feel like they're more of a Christian fan base.
Do you think the people on the right fight the way they should?
People on the right way?
Yeah. In other words, are people on the right too wimpy?
I don't think so, considering Donald Trump's in office. I mean, Donald Trump's put a forefront of that. I mean, look at him. He's tweeting up a storm.
Yeah, you're a smart guy.
So religion affects my politics for sure, but it affects everything else too. I'm actually registered Democrat, and so it's a lot different for me where everybody else is a lot more conservative.
But your Democrat friends, are they as tolerant as you are?
No, they are not. And I
Well,
think
what does that tell you? Why are you still a Democrat? With a show of hands, how many of you are going to vote Republican in the midterms?
Yeah.
Okay? Now, put them down. How many of you are going to vote Democrat in the midterms? Are you not voting at all? I've been watching you. How many of you love this school as much as I do? You know what, folks? That says a lot. Thank you. God bless you all. Says, finally, tonight, it's been 3 months and counting, and my book, Liars, Leakers, and Liberals, is still sitting pretty on the New York Times bestsellers list. So you better go out and get your copy before you're the last person you know doesn't have one. And tune in to Wise